Welcome to a special edition here. If you haven't seen the news, Elon Musk is pulling out of the Twitter deal, or at least he's attempting to. This is going to cause the fur to fly, and a lot of things are going to move. It's an interesting case for business law, which is why we're going to do this special update here of what we're seeing. So the headline is very simple here. Musk tells Twitter he's terminating the deal to buy the social media giant. This obviously causes ripples from three different directions. Elon Musk now faces a lawsuit, right? If you read the articles, Twitter has jumped on it already and said that they're going to try to force Elon Musk to purchase the company. He's going to claim fraud. He's going to claim misrepresentation. He's already laid that out. It looks like he's claiming that they didn't tell him true information about the company, and in fact that there were problems with the company's SEC filings. So the fur is starting to fly. From the Twitter perspective, very interesting place to be sitting right now. The market value of the company probably has diminished from all of this Elon Musk activity. Vis-a-vis a third-party purchaser, right? A lot of things have come out about Twitter. Some of their advertising issues, kind of how financially they don't have a path forward. People were saying this was great for the company. And the fact that the company, is available for purchase at the price Musk offered, $54.20 a share, right? So Twitter looks weakened, and now Twitter is going to try to force an acquisition. Meanwhile, Twitter's got a couple other problems brewing if they don't get through this acquisition. First, Musk has made a lot of fur about their user base, right? So this is going to impact Twitter from the investor standpoint. Investors are going to be wondering, is this company got the reach that they think it does? Can it move the advertisements they think it can? And the same for the advertisers, right? They're going to be questioning where Twitter's going. Not to mention, Twitter also potentially has an SEC problem because now Musk has claimed that Twitter is lying in their SEC filings. Now, that will be interesting, right? The SEC, will they take that up? Usually, if there's evidence of a big company having disclosure problems, it's usually something the SEC is interested in, and they want to come in there and check things out, right? So does this launch an SEC investigation? Which will give Twitter other problems and heartburns now, even if this Musk deal doesn't close. And now the Twitter board, it looks like they've determined their best option forward is to force a sale to Elon Musk through the court system, right? They're planning to go to Delaware Chancery Court and litigate this out. What's going to happen in that litigation, of course, is there's going to be mud flying both directions, right? So Musk is going to be talking about how Twitter overstayed its users, how that means that they have too many bots. That's going to make Twitter look bad. So a lot of dirt's going to come out about Twitter if this trial goes forward, if they don't renegotiate or do something differently. So expect a muddy, dirty battle. And it's high stakes, right? This is what happens when you have a deal go south and of the scale. Musk, sold stock, moved money around, potentially lined up financing deals. So there was a lot of activity on his part. All of that probably can be unwound. Although, will he? How will the Tesla stock look? Price future versus the price that he sold at. Other things like that. He may have some disruptions, but bigger question is, does he get forced to close this deal with this company he now claims he doesn't want? Could be one thing. Or, courts usually don't like to do what they call specific performance. They usually don't like to force somebody to buy something or to finish a transaction. What they usually like to do is assess money damages, right? And so now Delaware is unusual because it has a dual track legal system. It has one that's really determined more for money damages and one that's more damage for property type transactions. So they're sitting in what they call the Delaware Court of Chancery, which has a lot of power. It could potentially do a specific performance type transaction, but will they rather just ask Musk to pen a check if they side with Twitter? But before we get to that, we're going to have the fur flying between the two. And we as the spectators are probably going to get to see a lot of interesting stuff about Twitter. Meanwhile, what does this mean for Twitter and its users? A lot of people ran to Twitter and started using it more after this, right? Some people claim their accounts suddenly got, more users. Right after the deal was announced, a lot of people had a lot more activity on their accounts. They saw their user numbers spike. Some people thought it was something done internally at Twitter in response to this Musk takeover. Others thought maybe people just started using Twitter more. Query now what happens with that, right? Do people turn their Twitter accounts back off? Do they stop posting? Or do people hang around? Who gets the bounce of users, right? Is Twitter going to get that if this deal doesn't go through? Or will Twitter go back to its old ways and have people not want to use it, right? And those people that were concerned about Twitter that suddenly became users again, or first-time users when Elon Musk was acquiring the company, will they stick around? Will they go to another social media platform? And certainly creates a lot of unanticipated problems for users, right? Users jumped back in thinking that Twitter was going to be moving to Elon Musk, who had promised to make it a free speech platform and not be partisan with it, to now going back to the prior ownership, which many people have claimed to be partisan, right? So there's going to be a tension there about how this moves forward. It's going to be very interesting. Get your popcorn, folks. We're going to have to see how this plays out and what the exact provisions of the merger agreement are. I have not reviewed them in details. That will be very important. Musk is claiming misrepresentation. Misrepresentation, usually if it's proven, that becomes fraud at some level, and that can potentially get you out of a contract, right? If one person misrepresents what they're selling or what conditions are, and the buyer relies on that, that is usually a way to get out. And that may even point towards Musk getting a check, right? He may show up saying, I want damages. I announced this deal. I sold my Tesla stock. I spent how many ever, millions of dollars putting together a financing arrangement, all the things he did, do the deal. He's going to ask for money almost certainly. And in response, Twitter, of course, is now going to ask for money. And you've got to imagine if this deal doesn't go forward and they can't force the merger, Twitter is going to be a lot less valuable company because they just don't look good, which means damages for Twitter. Potentially if Twitter wins this case, Musk might be writing a big check to Twitter. But, however, you have to weigh that against these potential allegations of misrepresentation and hidden information, right? So if Musk is responsible and would owe money to Twitter, how do you calculate those damages? Do you calculate it based on the market value of what Twitter was before these potential hidden issues were exposed? Or do you calculate the value of the company based on what the true value was of Twitter if the truth and the information was exposed at the time Musk made the offer, right? Those are two different values of Twitter. Do you adjust the value of Twitter for this information, assuming it's true, to calculate the damages? Those will be interesting issues the court will have to take up. I think it'll be an interesting set of arguments as we read the cases and we watch what's happening. So drop some comments. Let me know what you think about the Musk deal. Let me know if you think he planned this. Did he want to do this all along? Was this something he was just kind of conniving? Some people do think that was the case, right? That Elon Musk kind of planned this. He was going to set this thing up and he was going to back out and make Twitter look bad. Or do you think he really got in, wanted Twitter, and then found out information he didn't want? And are you surprised that he can go back to the negotiating table versus just walking away from the deal? Would love to hear all that. And let me know if this is something you want me to cover more of on the channel as it develops, right? There is going to be more developments here. There will be more back and forth. And it looks like we're going to a litigation case. So it may be fun to track that if it's something you guys are interested in. Drop me some comments, hang around, subscribe, come step in and enjoy some more business law content on the channel. There's other videos already there and there's more coming. So thanks for being here, folks. Shawn signing off. Catch you all soon.